Carrie, can you hear me?
Well, believe it or not, what you're looking at right now is the front entrance to a home. As a matter of fact, I know you really can't see it behind there. I'm going to come around. All the tree here has completely collapsed. Up there, you can see the roof. And again, another family concerned, where are they going to spend the night? Now, there are neighbors here pulling together. In disasters, that often happens. People get together. As a matter of fact, this sound you hear down here is perhaps going to be a very popular sound in South Florida here for the next couple of days. And this is neighbor helping neighbor. You can see the team right here. Let's just taking clearing the tree that fell about 45 minutes ago. This completely covered the whole street. And here you can see the folks have been working together as a team to clear this tree out of here. And that's opening up one of the roads. And what we're going to do is we're going to step over here. Let's just step over here for a moment. I see neighbor pulling together, helping neighbor. Just tell me a little about that. This tree, what, just a short while ago, covered the street here?
Covered the whole street. We didn't have, it was self-defense. We had to get it across, get it cut up to drive down our neighborhood.
Now, did you know all your neighbors before this, or in fact, is this actually drawing some of you to meet one another?
I knew the guy's house that's in front of, and I told him, I said, get the rest of the people, because I didn't know the rest of the people. And I said we had about 10 to 15 of them show up to haul pieces away.
Okay, well,
they heard the noise, they came to the noise.
I know you've got a lot of work here, so we're going to step back and let you continue. And I'm going to take you inside a home over here with a rather incredible story. It's the type of story that you will probably hear repeated over and over in South Florida about this storm. We've seen some of the shots from outside where the roofs have caved in. Now, it's going to be kind of tricky for us to get in here because we've got a lot of cable, so you just give us a little bit of time in case we get snagged on a lot of the debris down here. But we're going to go inside this home and we're going to show you what the difference of a matter of seconds makes. Okay, let's see if we're doing okay on cable. We'll come around here. Now, this family knows we're coming, so this is not a big surprise. Now, it's somewhat dark down this hallway, but we're going to take you into a young child's room. This boy was sleeping in his room, and at around 4 o'clock, they heard a big gush of wind, so they decided that they would get everybody and move them into the hallway closet. Then, just seconds later, the roof here collapsed. The ceiling collapsed, and this here is where the boy was sleeping. So they got him out of here just seconds before.
Just in time, seconds.
Yes, just seconds. And I dare say that this story is likely repeated in many households across South Florida. It just happens that we are here. I'm going to take you into the other room that's going to show you when they heard that first burst of wind, why they decided to move. They heard that first burst of wind, and this is what that first burst of wind did. You're looking
just
out
peeled the ceiling off, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You're looking out the ceiling here.
Yeah.
And this, of course, once again gets back to what we talked about, structurally safe, structurally unsafe homes. The folks here say that while they do have the other half of the home where they could possibly remain, they're not sure what are they going to do. I mean, they can't get out on the roads. There's nowhere to go. As a matter of fact, we're going to head back down here because the family is down here, and we'll see.
Carrie?
Yes, go ahead.
I'd just like to point out for folks who are listening on FM 100.7, I would like to point out that you are at Southwest 111th Street and 138th Avenue. So you're down there in Southwest Dade.
Exactly. Let me ask you, as we look out the back here and we can see your pool and what covered it, what are your plans? What do you and the family do?
We don't know. The whole neighborhood is like this. We just have to stick together and see what happens. Get the insurance companies involved and ask them what they want us to do.
Do you find yourself saying, despite all the loss, I mean, nobody was injured in your family, and from what we can gather up and down the street, nobody was injured?
Yeah, we were knocking on doors while it was happening, and no one was injured that we know of. There's just a lot of damage. Our house was bad, but there's a lot of houses that are worse also.
And I guess that's what people are living through right now. It's sort of a comparison. Everybody is comparing. Is it worse, further down?
Well, now we have to board up the houses and wait for the instructions from the insurance company.
And I see over here sleeping after a long night, your son. What's his name?
Michael. And
really quite a moment for him to get him out of that room before the ceiling gave in.
It was scary. We weren't sure how bad it was going to be.
Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us live. Yes.
Carrie, if you can just ask him, what prompted him to stay?
Yeah, what prompted you to stay? I mean, this was an evacuation area, and I do notice so many people did stay.
As far as we know, it was not an evacuation area.
Okay, maybe I'm in error here because I'm moving around different neighborhoods.
It should have been.
It
but
should have been.
Would
Our
he?
in-laws came from an evacuation area, and I heard they had no damage there. And they came here.
I guess it's just, trying to guess the lottery numbers. Nobody knew exactly where it was going to hit, and that's part of the problem.
Right.
It's a bad situation. We all have to work together to get it resolved.
Yeah, and it's not just one neighborhood. It's quite honestly all of South Florida. Again, thank you very much, and we're happy to bring to you what is basically, despite all the devastation, all the destruction, good news in that there are no injuries here,
Absolutely.
and especially with with that young boy there.
That's an amazing story, Carrie. The way they just heard this thud, and within seconds, it seems that roof came down.
Well, yeah. I mean, and here we got to look. One thing that I think a lot of people are feeling good about is let's just sort of look up. You can see the clouds over here, et cetera, but what you don't see is rain. And I think people are just sick and tired of the wind, the rain, and all the misery that goes along with that. Now, at least, being dry, the folks can get to the long, very difficult chore of pulling together and cleaning up.
All right, Carrie, thank you very much. And I know you must be looking forward to some rest at some point today. And that sun. All right, thank you, Carrie.
Okay,
Now, we've got a few more things.
Right now, I understand that we're going to go to Pat Jackson. She's on the phone. She is from the Broward EOC. Are you there, Pat?
Yes, I am.
Pat, what can you tell us so far about Broward County? First of all, before we get into specifics, but basically from a damage standpoint, first of all.
Well, we have our damage assessment teams out in the area now, getting all the damage in the different areas to make a report to us. We're asking that everyone stay in the area where they are until at least 8 o'clock tonight because we also have a tornado watch. We are getting questions about water. All of Broward County is to boil their water at least 10 minutes, that's tap water, before consuming it. If you have bottled water, it's fine. If you have water in your refrigerator before the storm, that is also okay. You may take showers, but do not consume the water without boiling it for 10 minutes. And regarding the outages, we have power out all over about a third of Broward County. We are asking everyone, please just stay in place, keep in contact with us, and we will get as much information as we can.
Pat, we're getting some phone calls here as well from folks who want to know if they have a gas range. Is it safe to turn it back on now?
Well, we've been calling, people have been calling in with that question also. We have been referring them to Florida Power and Light. Okay. And they've been helping them in that area. And
we're going to give you numbers where you can call, folks. Do we have numbers later on that I can refer to?
Yes, we do.
Okay. There you go. They're on the screen now. For questions such as, can I turn my gas back on? If you're in Broward, you should call 357-8454. 357-8454. It's called a rumor hotline, but they can answer a lot of your questions. If it's busy, keep trying because they are there. For the hearing impaired, there is a number as well. That number is 357-6158. 357-6158. Pat, when you said the tornado watch, I want to go back to that a little bit, and maybe Brian can expand on that. What does that actually mean for the folks up in Broward?
That means that we will have winds, severe thunder and lightning, and the rain. And we want everyone just to stay where they are right now. Everyone is working, trying to get the damage assessed. We're trying to get reports out to everyone. We have a great team here. We're all working together to try to help our people.
How about flooding? Do you have any kind of...
We have not had any rumors of flooding yet, no.
No. I understand that according to Florida Power and Light, there are 425,000 people without power right now.
They are working on that. We have areas that are not without power. You're correct.
Okay. Anything else you want to pass on to viewers who may, any questions you seem to be getting off in there that you may want to share with us at this point?
May I ask Pat one thing?
Sure.
I'm sorry, Pat, I did not hear your answer about the tornado watch. My producer was in my ear. Can you go over this for me one time, please?
Okay, we have a tornado watch in effect until 8 p.m. tonight for the following counties: Lee County, Charlotte, Sarasota, DeSoto, Hardy, Polk, Highlands, Manatee, Pinellas, and Hillsborough.
Okay, Pat, that does not affect Broward County. Broward County is not under that tornado watch at all.
They are. Well, that's what we have as our announcements here.
Okay, but that's fine. But if it doesn't say Broward County, Pat, Broward County is not included in that watch.
Okay, this is information we had gotten from our hurricane system.
No, if it does not say, when you get
You're
that...
right, it does not say Broward
Right,
County.
so there is no tornado watch for Broward County. Those counties are to the north and the northwest of you.
You're correct.
I'm sorry, Teresa, I just wanted...
All right. No, I'm glad you made that clarification.
Okay, Pat,
I am
thank you.
too.
Pat,
Thank you
thank
very much,
you.
Pat. We'll
You're
continue to
welcome.
hand these numbers out. I do have some information that just came in. Miami International Airport is still closed. It will only be open for emergency landings only. No commercial or private flights whatsoever. It may, now this is a kind of a change from what we'd heard earlier this morning, it may possibly reopen tomorrow. Roads into the airport will be closed down. They probably are closed down right now, as a matter of fact, and only employees of the airport will be allowed in. And to prove you are an employee, you will need your airport identification to be with you. Again, MIA closed. People do not go to the airport anticipating that they will be open tomorrow. They possibly will not be. Call your carrier before you go to the airport to find out if you're going to be able to get out of MIA.
And I would like to add that Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport is also closed. So you have to stand by, keep listening, and we'll let you know as soon as we get the word on when they decide to open. I would like to add, however, that the only flights coming into Miami International Airport, and Yvette, producer upstairs, correct me if I'm wrong, are emergency relief flights. Goods coming into the area from other cities to help folks that are just recovering from Hurricane Andrew.
Okay, that was my fault. I misunderstood that as because he was giving me all the information
Emergency
at once.
relief
emergency
flights.
relief flights are the only flights being allowed into MIA. And again, tomorrow, check with your carrier. There is the possibility that MIA will not be open. Let's go ahead and bring you up to date on a couple of call-ins that we've got for the Miami Police Department. All officers on the Alpha shift are, please report to Central Headquarters immediately. Now then, for Dade County, Metro Dade Police Department, all Alpha shift personnel report to work immediately as well. Let me just go down the list here for Metro Dade. Debris clearance and debris clearance and removal personnel from Metro Dade Solid Waste Management, Parks and Recreation, and Public Works Department, you are asked to report immediately to your assigned workstations. That is the same with Miami-Dade Water and Sewer Authority Department employees. They include maintenance, distribution, and office personnel on the emergency list. Metro-Dade Transit Authority bus drivers and Dade County Public School bus drivers are requested to respond to their workstations to provide emergency transportation. Again, all Metro-Dade police officers on Alpha shift report to work immediately. And Dade County Housing and Urban Development Maintenance personnel and damage assessment teams, please report to your assigned workstation immediately.
Okay, I would like to add one advisory to your list, Brian, and this is Alex Muzo, Homestead City Manager, is requesting that all City of Homestead employees report to Homestead City Hall immediately. Again, Homestead City Manager is requesting that all City of Homestead employees report to Homestead City Hall immediately. And I'd like to take this opportunity to remind folks who are watching us on TV that we're also simulcasting on Y100. So if for some reason you still don't have power on, but you do have that portable radio, you can tune in Y100, which is 100.7 on your FM dial, and you can get all this information as we are giving it to you for viewers of Channel 4 as well. Now, I understand as I started to give that advisory out that my producer was talking to me. You have video of what, Yvette? Okay, we're going to look at some video of Miami Beach, and these are strong winds. This is this morning, folks. Just take a look at that pounding wind. Brian Allen, what would you say that is? I mean, this is inside a parking garage, mind you.
Right. See, you can almost see a swirl in there because the winds are coming in so fast. We had gusts reported on the beach from 90 miles an hour up to close to 100 miles an hour. Sustained winds 75 miles an hour plus. Sand blowing just like a sandblasting machine. It was hitting things so hard. I was outside at one point last night, and it was basically raining horizontally instead of vertically.
Now, what kind of damage do we know yet? A lot of, in fact, Brian Norcross last night was saying if you don't have a place, if you don't have a garage, you might want to take your car, your vehicle to some kind of a covered parking garage or parking lot at a mall somewhere. Looking at this, is this likely to damage a car?
Well, on the beach, what we're looking at, though, possibly is just the flying sand, really roughing up the paint job and the windshield as well. The reason for talking about bringing your car into an inside parking garage and possibly putting it on a higher floor was if you're in the path of a storm surge, and also you cut down your risk of flying debris if you're in a garage, because some garages may have a couple of feet opening, some may 6 with the 1 or 2 inch wires across there. So at least you're cutting down your chances for flying debris to come through the windows.
I don't know if anyone out there had this problem, but when our power went out last night, well, I should say this morning at about 3:30 in the morning, our electric garage door, just went up, and little did we know about it till about an hour later. We decided to go downstairs and check, and it was open. It was open, and we were getting that video you just saw of the, there was just like a cyclone in there with the wind and plants and whatnot. Thank God we were able to go down there and close it again, but for some reason it just went up, when the power went off. So
a little bit of a power surge.
I hope I'm not alone.
Sending that one right up.
But
let me go over something here with you real quickly. The Hollywood Police Department will continue to restrict access to the beach area due to downed live electrical wires. Workers will be working to correct the problem area. For now, the entire Hollywood Beach area will be closed until the Hollywood Police Department deems the area is safe for the return of residents.
Okay, I have got an advisory just handed to me. Let me read this to you just as I'm getting it here, folks. County Manager Joaquin Avignon has issued the following proclamation. I find that, and I'm quoting now, I find that as a result of the effects of Hurricane Andrew, there exists a clear and present danger to the public health and welfare and of substantial injury to persons or to property, that I therefore issue the following orders. Order number 1, the power of the county is raised under my command. Order number 2, a curfew is hereby immediately in effect to last until rescinded by further order from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. for the entire area of Dade County, Florida. Order number 3, all persons living in Dade County, Florida are commanded to remain in their home during the hours of the curfew unless otherwise directed or authorized by Dade County, State of Florida, or federal officials. Residents desiring to evacuate to an area of shelter may be escorted out of the area upon their request. Number 4, the curfew boundary areas and times may be redefined from time to time as necessary by issuance of subsequent declarations of curfew. Now, Dade County residents should call the Dade County Rumor Control Hotline for emergency questions only, and I'll give you that number shortly. But just to, again, there is a curfew. The main thing here is there is a curfew immediately in effect to last until rescinded by further order from 7 o'clock in the evening to 7 a.m. for the entire area of Dade County, Florida. And all persons who live in Dade County are commanded to remain in their homes during these hours unless otherwise directed or authorized by Dade County, State of Florida, or federal officials. And that rumor control hotline, let me just give folks that number, because if you should have any question, emergencies only, please, you should call 596-8735. 596-8735.
All right, let's turn this over so that we can get this upstairs so that we can have this at all times, because we're going to have to keep coming back to this constantly. Now, basically, they're enacting powers to take control of the county, and this is not to restrict people from movement or to keep you, it's actually for your own safety and to keep you out of dangerous areas. We have down power lines. Something like 600,000 customers of Dade County alone still do not have power. We want people off the streets. If you're on the streets, there's a good chance you can interfere with emergency vehicles, FP&L, who's trying to get power restored, at least power to hopefully try to get the water system back up to speed so far. The gas company's out checking for gas leaks. the county checking for water main breaks. This is for your own good.
You know, you
don't
can't really...
You don't need to be on the streets.
you
It is
don't
that
need to be
simple.
there at
There's
all.
nothing you can do.
And there are so many trees that are down there anyway. It's not easy to drive around town. Also, I'd like to, Marianne Murciano was with us just a few minutes ago from the Dade County Emergency Operations Center, and she said that the county manager, Joaquin Avignon, had just toured the area. What he did is he was up on a chopper with, I believe it was Metro Police Chief, and they were able to assess, and this is the first time they've gone up there, to assess the damage. So this statement that we read to you about the curfew is obviously a result of that first
definitely. This was something that
assessment there.
That Brian Norcross. Okay, here we go. Dade County curfew in effect immediately from 7 p.m. until 7 a.m. until further notice. It is that simple. Dade County is under a curfew from 7 p.m. until 7 a.m. Again, this is not to restrict you. In a way, it is to restrict you, but it's for your own good. You have no reason to be out there. There's nothing that you can do at this point in time. If you do have questions, the Dade County Rumor Control Line, do we have that number that we can put up? Because I did not.
I have it here. Hold on.
Do you
Just give me a
have the
moment.
number?
In one of my many papers
I
here,
know,
I have that number for the rumor control. This is emergency hotlines. Is this it? Yes. In Dade County, the number is 596-8735. But these are only emergencies, though. Are these life-threatening emergencies?
Right. We need the rumor control.
That
is it.
rumor
596-8735. You'll have to check to find out. And there's a possibility that if they do grant you permission to leave your area, you will be escorted. This is serious.
I need to be clarified. Is this only for life-threatening emergencies? Would someone... Okay. Yvette, who's upstairs, our producer, is telling us this is for any questions that we may have as far as the hurricane, not just life-threatening, but keep it down to emergencies, folks, because they are swamped, and they are telling us if you don't need to call them right away, please wait. They are swamped, and we are trying to do our best to communicate any kind of news release that comes our way. As soon as they fax it to us, we read it to you off the air. We read it to you right here, and so please, unless it's an emergency, don't call them. I'll repeat the numbers again for the sake of those folks who are listening on the radio and can't see this at home. In Dade County, 596-8735. In Broward, 357-8454. And if you happen to be in the Keys, the number there is 1-800-427-8340. And we haven't forgotten, I know that we are getting calls from folks
We're trying to get
wanting
Keys
to know
information as soon as we can.
We're trying. We're working
I know that
on
I've been trying to call into the Keys. I've been having some phone line problems this morning. One new announcement, all Metro Dade County building and zoning trailer park damage assessment team personnel. Right now, you should be making your way, or you should be making your damage assessments and report your results to the Emergency Operations Center located at 5600 Southwest 87th Street. They are looking for you to be making your assessment reports.
All right, you just, I've got another one here, and this is to all customers of City Gas. To report any outages, damages, or leaks, you are to call one of the following numbers: 836-4784, 793-5789, or 691-2750. City Gas mainly operates in the southwest areas of unincorporated Dade County and Hialeah, and we know that southwest area did get substantial damage, as we've seen some of the videotapes this morning, some of the reports we've seen. Kerry Sanders was out there not too long ago, and he was going through a neighborhood that was quite
Teresa, I have
devastating.
not heard from the producer yet, and the producer will probably kill me when I make this announcement. I'm going to hand you the stack. It's going to be some reading material while I get about 3 minutes to go get the
I don't know
latest...
anything about the coordinates. No, I'm only teasing.
To go get, excuse me? To go get the... Okay, thank you. To go get the latest on Andrew right now and to get the latest radar shots so we can keep you updated.
It is intensifying, by the way, just to let folks know that it hasn't died on us. As a matter of fact, it's back to 140
It's a
mile per hour
Category 4
wind.
hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico.
What were the top winds early this morning?
We had a gust of 168.
That's the one that knocked off that ball
right
off
now,
the Hurricane Center.
We're looking at 138 miles per hour when the eye first made landfall.
Is that a record for us?
138?
168.
No, I do not believe so. I do. Registered in the Gables?
Well, in Coral Gables, you said that was the gust.
That was the gust.
That was the one that he said.
Right, that was the gust there. Let me pull my list because I'd have to look back. Because as we go back into the 1900s, we use some estimates to try and figure out some different things on that. Let me bring that stuff
Okay.
up and grab
We'll
some
give
more
you
material.
A few more minutes. How's that?
I can have more than 3?
Yeah.
Would you like me to
30
bring you? Would
seconds
you like me to
more.
bring? Would you like me to bring you some
Brian,
water or
no,
soda
while
or
you're
something?
While you're there, seriously, we're also getting calls from folks who have relatives or friends out on the Key Biscayne. Is there any information that you can share with them now?
No, we have not. As I said earlier, we are having problems getting some weather information in here simply because we've lost part of our link with Coral Gables. We've had some problems with some computers because in the winds we lost what we call an earth station, one of the dishes that picks up our satellite signals. So we're trying to get those fixed, and that part of the thing is I want to get back into my office to see what's in there. So you can. Would you like something to drink as I come back out?
Thank you.
Okay. Give me a couple minutes and I'll be right back.
Thank you. You know, as a matter of fact, if you have any information either on the Florida Keys or on Key Biscayne, you should call us here at the station so that maybe we can pass that information along to you. Now, he handed me so many papers here, but there's one out here. It says, Hurricane Hotline update. Residents are asked not to call Metro-Dade's Hurricane Hotline to report fallen trees and other debris. The office is aware of the problem and crews are responding. So please do not call Metro-Dade's Hurricane Hotline just to report a fallen tree or debris. They are well aware of what the problem is, and they're trying to get to each and every one of them in due time. Now, this is a notice to school worksite personnel. All Dade County Public Schools, trades and grounds personnel, as well as zone mechanics, maintenance administrators, stores and distribution personnel, and garage maintenance personnel are to report to their respective maintenance satellites as soon as the all clear is announced. Now, all special investigative unit personnel should also report to their stations as previously notified. And as we go out there now, and our crews have been out all morning trying to bring you an assessment of Hurricane Andrew's devastating effect here on South Florida, we can tell you that Florida Power and Light has already reported to us that they have 600,000 customers without power in Dade County, 425,000 customers without power in Broward County. So bear with us. We're trying to get as much information as we can to you. For folks who are watching us on Channel 4, if you need to get around the house, do some other things, you have that portable radio, because I know you must have those batteries, those additional batteries. You can listen to Y100. We are simulcasting on Y100. We've been doing this ever since we began our coverage, our continuous coverage. So again, you don't have to sit by the set. You can okay, we're going to give you some new numbers. This is to report any kind of a gas leak. If you're a city gas customer, we have 3 numbers for you. The numbers are 836-4784, or you can dial 793-5789, or you can call 691-2750, City Gas customers. More numbers. People's Gas in Dade County, 893-2522. or 573-3820. This is People's Gas in Dade County. In Broward County, People's Gas, 763-8900, 763-8900. And if you're trying to get through and it is busy, please continue to call. All the lines are swamped, but they do have folks there trying to answer all your questions and get to you as soon as they possibly can. Now, just to give you some more information, we're getting news releases by the second here, and we're trying to relay the information we get. Again, Miami Police Alpha Shift personnel being asked to report to Central Headquarters immediately. All right. And as far as water, I understand my producer is telling me we are still getting a lot of phone calls from folks about boiling water. We were on the phone with folks at the Broward Emergency Operations Center just a few minutes ago. They were telling us that you should boil the water there for at least 10 minutes. I don't know what Dade County has issued, but I would imagine 10 minutes would be a safe yes as well. That is unless you already have bottled water or you were able to put some water aside in a jug in a gallon container before the storm hit. But at least boil it for 10 minutes. That's the boiling water. Also, I have an advisory from Metro Dade. All residents are being asked to conserve water and also to check their water service lines at home near uprooted trees. Now, you can determine if your service line has a leak by listening for leaking water near the site of the uprooted tree from the meter box to the home. Now, if you can confirm a leak, please disconnect the service at the meter by shutting off the valve at the meter. Now, again, please conserve water, especially in South Dade and Kendall, where the sewer plants have been seriously damaged. Something else, if you do not have to be outside, folks, stay indoors. There's no need to be out there. We have power lines down. We have some dangerous situations with all these trees that have been uprooted out there. We have a lot of emergency crews. We have the police department, National Guardsmen. We have so many folks trying to get out there and do their work and make it safer for you that it would be best for you to just stay indoors today. We hope that you were able to stock up and you have the water and you have other liquids and you do have the food, but try not to go out there. You'll have plenty of time to assess the damage. Now we're going to give you some more phone numbers. Okay, what we're going to give you now are instructions for water purification. There you go. The first thing is boil 3 to 5 minutes. Purification tablets per gallon. Add 12 drops of 2% tincture iodine per gallon. Add 8 drops of household bleach per gallon. These are just some of the things you can do as far as purifying that water. Okay. And Yvette, where do you want to take us now? Okay, let me continue giving you some media advisories. Again, Homestead City Manager Alex Musso is requesting that all City of Homestead employees report to Homestead City Hall immediately. And for folks out there who are calling us and saying, we want to know what happened in the Keys, you know, bear with us. We're trying to get some information. As a matter of fact, Brian Allen is out there now trying to see what he can find out for us as far as damages, flooding, that and Key Biscayne. We have yet to hear from folks out there, but I know that that area, when I was driving in, was sealed off. And I understand, I am getting confirmation now that it is still sealed off. So if you're trying to get back in, stay where you are. Stay put. They are not allowing folks back in. Okay. All right, now we're going to show you some video. I believe this is video that Susan Wallace shot earlier. Here we go. Let's listen to this.
Are you all right?
Yeah.
Did you spend the night down here?
Yeah.
And what was it like?
It's terrified.
Terrifying?
Yes, sir.
And where were you sleeping? Where were you sleeping?
We up on the bridge.
So you guys all went up under it?
Yeah.
Anybody hurt down here?
No.
Unbelievable. Everybody's okay. Nobody's hurt.
No.
Wow.
Y'all had a cigarette?
I don't have a cigarette on me, sorry.
This is your place?
Yeah.
Are you surprised it's still here?
Yeah. I'm surprised that it's still here. Everybody else are gone. Everybody else are gone. Mine's still here. It started hitting here about 10 minutes after 1.
And that was when you felt the worst?
Yeah, that was the beginning of it.
Yeah.
From now on, we had to hold on. This is what we had up under the bridge.
You're watching tape of, this is a homeless gentleman who was out at Miami's mud flat section, and that was reporter Susan Wallace who was asking him the questions. Now, we are going to show you some video now of National Guardsmen arriving in Miami. This is just about 2 blocks up the street, folks. They're lined up at the headquarters of the City of Miami Police Department. You can see them there in full gear.
I'm back, Teresa.
Okay, there are 600, I understand, in Miami. 900 more are on their way here.
Yeah, this all came as part of Governor Child's emergency order yesterday, just to bring in some support for local police departments in both Dade and Broward County to assist with security, to help prevent the looting, and then also to help in cleanup once the area is more secured.
Also, Brian, I was just handed this. This is from Jackson Memorial Hospital. All scheduled 2nd and 3rd shift workers, if they can get to the hospital, please do so. And if you could please bring drinking water with you, it will be appreciated. So again, 2nd and 3rd shift workers, if they can get to Jackson Memorial Hospital, please come in and bring that bottled water with you. And by the way, you know that story, we kept running stories of the pregnant ladies, the ladies that have been taken. Well, as of 1 o'clock, Jackson has had 35 babies. These ladies at Jackson have had 35 babies. And women, as of 1 p.m., had 35 babies. Since 4 p.m. yesterday afternoon, had...
and 22 women.
And 22 women are in labor. So I know we're going to get some Andrews out of it.
I was going to say, I wonder how many were named Andrew. Let me remind you of a closure here. Miami International Airport is closed. Possibly, I strongly emphasize the word possibly, will reopen tomorrow. The only flights being allowed to land are those with emergency relief supplies. All roads into the airport are closed. If you are an airport employee, you'll be asked to produce identification when you arrive to be admitted access to the airport. If you have flight questions, do not go to the airport. Do not call the airport. Please call your air carrier. If you just show up and the airport is not open, you will be turned away.
Okay, now I understand we're getting calls from people in Sunrise wanting to know if they're going to get that last band of Hurricane Andrew or if it's all over.
I'm still trying to get, we're still having some problems in the storm center.
That's right, you took some hits there too. Huh?
Yeah, we're still trying to get some, we've got some problems in there as far as
okay,
the
so put that on
of
your list,
information.
Sunrise. Folks out there want to know.
That's first thing on my list is to get everything up.
He has a list that says way long.
Yeah, it's very long.
Okay.
Let's go, let's talk about the curfew again.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Remind folks that there is a curfew just imposed by Dade County Manager Joaquin Avignon, and that is from 7 p.m.
this evening until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. And it's just not for tonight.
Right.
This is ongoing until further notice, and that is for your own protection, basically, is the reason. There's no reason for people to be out on the streets. There's nothing you can accomplish. If you're out there driving around, you could be in the way of possible fire trucks, police action, FP&L crews, gas crews, cleanup crews, people that are trying to at least make areas accessible so that when you can go in, it is accessible and safe.
Right. And also, you know, if you need to find out how that loved one is, the phones, thank goodness, are working in most parts.
Most parts.
So, you know, you should pick up that phone and try to find out. And if you're curious about your home, if you happen to be out in a shelter and you want to know how your home is, you know, folks, at this point, your safety and that of your family's safety is number one. So let's give it a little more. Let's be patient and let's stay out of the way here of the emergency crews that are trying to do their job and make life a little easier for them and for us. So
exactly.
Now we have got someone joining us here at the desk, and this lady hasn't slept at all because I've been watching her all morning, all
Beverly
night.
White
She is
with
here.
us
Beverly
now.
White, welcome, lady.
Well, thank you, Teresa. I haven't combed my hair either, but that's another story.
Terrific.
Bless your heart.
How was it last night?
How was it?
It was outrageous. I mean, you spend the night with all these people you've never met, and they treat you with the utmost kindness. It's amazing. But I'm not here just to get over the shelter story, which is certainly compelling, but rather to give you an update from Homestead. We just came in from the southern part of the viewing audience, and the people down there, I know they've got their hands full. We spent some time with some folks on the streets, and believe me, it's so wet and rainy, intermittent conditions like you've been describing throughout the newscast, and the continuous newscast. Our gear quit. Our camera just died, as you know humidity can do with the equipment that we use these days. Therefore, we don't have the pictures right now, although David Bloom is in that area and he has a satellite truck. He'll be up and running shortly.
So we'll have those pictures.
Right, let me tell you what we saw. Right around Eureka, which is also known as Southwest 184th Street, off the Turnpike, there are buildings, strip malls, you name it, with roofs missing, entire households devastated. I'm told the Green Hill subdivision was especially hit hard. I spoke with one woman who said she lost her $85,000 home, all its contents, family portraits sucked out of the window, all of her clothes disappeared in an instant. She spent the night in the bathroom with her entire family, and everything was taken out of the house, and furniture. We're not just talking about pictures and lightweight things, but the couches and chairs as well. All of that disappeared in an instant, right around 4 or 4:30.
She's lucky to be able to tell you the story.
Certainly, and that's the sentiment with which she told us the story. Rather than being upset and tearful, like a lot of us would be for obvious reason, she was so bubbly and grateful and I don't know, effusive.
How many hours was she? She must have been, I mean, that must have been terrifying, because I know to be in a situation, you were in a shelter, I was at home, and I know that I'm saying, my goodness, how much longer? So for this poor lady and her family, how many hours was she in that bathroom?
And her neighbors. She says she stayed in the bathroom till about 7 a.m. But other people came out, you know, to survey the damage, because you hear all the bouncing and banging around you. And many of the people, we talked about half a dozen, described it as an explosion type of situation. You can't see it, but you can hear it. You're in utter darkness. You're hunkered down in your bathtub.
Okay, Eureka Drive, by the way, is what street? Do you know approximately?
Southwest 184th. Let me give you a block number if I can find it. Again, we're talking right off the Turnpike. So for those of you who know the area, it's not too hard to spot that.
Right,
You've seen it, you've driven
right
by,
there.
right there. And the communities are visible on either side of the Turnpike, the places that were directly affected by this particular system, which struck right around 4 o'clock. Between Eureka and further south, approaching Homestead, we saw easily hundreds of homes that were wiped out. And I know when David arrived, I could talk to him and listen to him on the two-way radio. He described it as the worst he'd seen.
Now, this lady you talked to, among the other folks you spoke to, they decided to stay.
Certainly.
Did you find a lot of that? A lot of folks who said, we're going to stay here?
Sure, and some people who actually went and stayed with other family members and friends, they share the concern that, well, maybe next time we will get over to a shelter, we will not hesitate. They learned the lesson the hard way. There was no loss of life in these households.
Fortunately.
But the property, the experience, I know it's life-affirming for them. And again, she was quite cheerful, telling me this story as if, you know, she had a revelation.
I was going to say, she's born again.
That's right. That's right. I don't know her religious persuasion, but I believe her faith.
But she was born yesterday.
That's right. Her faith was tested, but not broken in this situation.
Morning, I should say.
She was charming, and again, I wish I could have gotten her interview on camera, but because of the equipment challenges that we faced throughout the evening, not just at this location, we didn't get her on the record, so to speak. But I wanted to bring her story to you because it was so compelling.
Now, Carrie was sharing a story with us of a lot of camaraderie, neighbors helping each other. In fact, meeting neighbors they didn't even know, they had, trying to get all these trees out of the way and clean up. Do you find that in the Homestead area as well?
That's right. This lady we found at a strip mall. She'd just come by to see how the merchants were holding up because they suffered the same type of damage, and none of the merchants were there. She came by to see if there might be looters, and there were none yet, but the situation was ripe. You know, you've got convenience stores. I noticed one facility appeared to be an electronics store, but I'm not absolutely sure because the signs were gone, not just the rooftops. She came by just to see how everything was doing. I noticed the water was up to my knees, and she came through in her shorts, barefoot, just checking out how everybody else was doing. Because again, her family was salvaged, and although her personal belongings were shot, she insisted, she has insurance, and even if she didn't, she was quite thankful to have survived this experience and lived to tell me the story so I could bring it to you. And remind you that these warnings are not to be taken lightly.
No, not at all.
Of course, there have been so many false alarms and fire drills, so to speak. We've had our share, but this one was the big one. I mean, the headline was so on the money.
How about the hospitals down there? Were you able at all to check with the hospitals down there and see how they're doing?
Not yet, but I did notice, speaking of official agencies and the like, National Guard.
On their way.
As we came out of that area, they were going in. And they had on the helmets with the shields, so I guess maybe they anticipate trouble. Perhaps they anticipate looters. But they were out in full force, on the approach to the very areas we had come from.
Did you see any FPL crews, any other service personnel out there?
I saw a couple of FPL trucks with the cherry pickers. I don't know where they were headed. They had so much to choose from in that community. Downed power lines interrupted us at every turn.
That's what I found.
We wound up getting rerouted. It took us the better part of 90 minutes just to get back from that community. It might normally have taken 45. And
would you say that the people are remaining indoors? I mean, you have a lot of folks like you said. No. Okay.
They're out on the streets. They're holding their hands up in thankfulness and shock and camaraderie, which you indicated. They're all getting together to help one another. And although the advisories indicate you should stay indoors because we're not out of the woods yet, the rains continued even as we spoke to these people. But
there were some winds. I mean, there were some.
Sure, they believe the worst is over, and what else do they have to lose? They came outside to, hug one another.
We made it.
That's right. We made it.
We learned our lesson, but, we're here to talk about it.
Right. We talked to some people who were loading up the few things that they had left in a car. I don't know where they were going. I'm not sure they knew where they were going, but they certainly planned to get out of the area.
Okay. Now, you said Dave Bloom is out in that area. He's got a live truck, so hopefully we'll be able to get a picture to folks out there. Well, Beverly, I hope you can take a break here for a few minutes.
Actually, I want to take some of the tape that we shot at the shelters and along the journey and bring it to you shortly, but prior to even sitting down and writing that story, I wanted to at least talk with you.
Well, it's good to hear. Unfortunately, there was some loss there, but we're talking about folks who are around to talk about it this morning.
And those who had second thoughts and third thoughts about the evacuation process may want to take a lesson.
Right. Definitely. Thank you. All right. Well, we have some good news for folks who live out in Broward County. We understand that Hollywood Beach is now reopened. So if you want to go out there and you feel it's safe to do that, or you want to walk around, Hollywood Beach is reopened. Now, we want to go over those curfew times again. Dade County, as you know, has issued a curfew, and those times are from 7 o'clock this evening till 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. And we understand this is being done for your safety, folks. So you really don't need to be out there, especially in the evening. And the boundaries, we understand, may change. This is for all Dade County, but again, the boundaries may change as they're able to get work crews out there and emergency crews. Now, if you have any questions, Rumor Control Hotline is 596-8735, 596-8735. Now, joining me now is Channel 4's Ileana Bravo, another trooper who was out there and has been out there. And
Don't I look it?
You look terrific. You look terrific. Now, tell us what you've got for us.
Well, actually, I just returned from what I thought was perhaps the most dramatic scene that I've had experience with yet in this hurricane, and that's at Baptist Hospital, where the victims of Hurricane Andrew are just coming by the dozens. During the time that we were there were 50 people crowded into the emergency room at Baptist Hospital. And one of the reasons is, A, that South Dade has been so hard hit by this, as you've been hearing over and over again. And we've been watching the video. I got to tell you that driving through it personally, it looks like the cliche goes, it looks like a war zone. There is not a tree standing, signs, billboards, things that are huge and heavy just tossed around like toothpicks. But nevertheless, the reason that I was over at Baptist was that we got the call that the physicians just simply couldn't handle it. James Archer Smith Hospital in Homestead has structural damage, so therefore they had to almost evacuate. They cannot handle patients, as is Deering Hospital. They sustained damage also from the hurricane, so they can't handle a lot of the patients. Thus, Baptist was left with a great deal of the burden. As I say, 50 people were there in the emergency room while we were there. And we'd like to look at some of the video just so we can see how many people were there and the kind of condition they were in. It's not like they were in very poor shape. It's not like they were critically injured, although one man had a shard of glass go through him, impale him literally. There you see some of the patients arriving. And this little boy, this was a tragic case. That mother was huddling him in bed, said she doesn't even know how it happened. He had a hole in his head. It's very graphic. It's so difficult to talk about, and I know you as a mother, Teresa, feel it. I was moved nearly to tears just seeing the scene at the emergency room. It's not only the bumps and the bruises and the cuts and the fact that a lot of the people had to walk themselves and drive themselves to the emergency room because rescue crews couldn't get there, but it's also the fact that they feel like they have been through the worst times of their life. And I'd like for you to hear some of those interviews just so you can hear the graphic description and the emotional descriptions these people had.
In our neighborhood, it really just went right down the street, took off roofs, blew out windows, overturned trees. It looks like a war zone.
All you hear is things crashing, and you're going, oh God, what was that now? You know, and you're huddled in the bathroom, and you got the little radio on trying to hear what's going on.
2x4s flying all through my house. I've lost everything I had.
You lost everything?
My house was a total it's totaled.
How did you hurt yourself?
I don't know. I really don't. All I know is at one point I turned around to check something out, and I probably hit something sharp or something, but I just don't know. I've lost all thought about everything, about what happened. I just tried to. All I wanted to do was protect myself.
Just save your life.
That's all. And
Where did this gentleman live?
That couple, Larry and Deborah Crumley, were from South Miami Heights, and they said that everywhere around them in their neighborhood, roofs had been ripped off of houses, and he said that he was literally trying to hold up a wall, which is, I think, how he got so hurt. His leg was basically, it had some deep cuts and injuries, and he needed stitches.
It's the instinct. We've talked to so many people this morning who say, well, maybe one of the reasons I decided to stay home is I felt that if anything should happen, if I'm there, I can at least protect my home. Well, we forget about our safety sometimes, and I know we have friends who tried to do that with their door, and they're okay, but, but it's not a pretty sight.
It's usually not the case, and this man even told me, he said that he just told his wife, you go save yourself, you go take care of yourself, and I'll be the man and take care of the house, and that's wonderful instinct, but the bottom line is he could have gotten killed, and he now knows that. And so
you can't fight 150-mile-per-hour winds. And the little boy, you started to tell me the mother really doesn't know how he got injured.
She was holding him in bed, and the glass and the house started literally caving in on them, crumbling in.
Where were they from?
I didn't get the exact neighborhood because she was crying. She was holding a rosary. It was emotionally draining, simply. And she was so concerned because there are not enough doctors to be able to help. And Baptist is a terrific emergency room, and they're doing the best they can. But she was concerned about infection to her little boy, and she was trying to
How
get
early was
trauma.
she there this morning?
No one ventured out until about 4 in the afternoon, no, not 4 in the afternoon, excuse me, until 10 in the morning because they were afraid to leave their homes.
And there were still some gale force winds.
There were gale force winds. It was still hurricane-y out there.
And when did this happen, for example, to that little boy? Did it happen
She doesn't
early
even know.
on?
She says she thinks that it may have happened in the middle of the night, and she didn't realize that he was bleeding. They were just trying to huddle it together in bed.
Now, Liana, you started to talk about the doctors. Do they still need doctors to go in there and treat all these people?
They sure do.
Is there a number that we can give folks and doctors out there, professionals who are listening? If you can help out, please, this is the time to do it.
Hey, I've got 3 tips on that. Number 1, there is a number that you could call at the Baptist Emergency Room, and that number is, I don't know if we can make up a screen.
Well, if you give, I'll jot it
enough,
down,
but let's write this
give
down.
it to us now.
It's 596-1960, and the extension is 6292. Now, if you're a Baptist hospital physician on staff, you know these numbers, and you know that you're supposed to show up to work as soon as possible. And the emergency room physician, director there, understands that a lot of the doctors are caring for their family and their homes and their needs first, but as soon as they can, as soon as they feel that their situation is taken care of at home, come into the hospital because your services are badly needed, especially specialists, neurologist, orthopedist, all the specialty areas, because you have a lot of head injuries and you have limb injuries and bone fractures.
And they're taking, I mean, they need help from, you don't just have to work at Baptist. They need professionals. They need doctors, people who can go in there and help treat all these folks. Is this the main hospital in Southwest Aid where folks are being treated at?
At this point, it seems to be. Now, they probably wouldn't want me to say, yes, tell everyone that that's where they should go. But unfortunately, unfortunately, there are a few other hospitals in the deep Southwest Dade area.
Homestead.
Right, in the Homestead and Perrine and Cutler Ridge area that can probably handle that kind of trauma. But I would say, you know, if you have a serious injury, you need to try and get fire rescue to get you. Don't try and drive yourself to a hospital and if you're in serious life-threatening situation. So I think you need to use a lot of common sense, and a lot of people are panicking right now, and there's
no need for that. I mean,
no, there really isn't.
I'd just like to add, I am being told that Governor Childs is asking that 200 nurses come to Miami to assist.
That's what I understand.
In this medical emergency. So hopefully we'll get some more help from outside the immediate area. Okay, Liana, well, thank you very much, and I hope we can get the word out. Again, that number, just so that we can get the number out again, and then we'll try to make a graphic later on.
Okay, that's 596-1960, extension 6292. Boy, we are fast.
There we go.
Screen. There's
hey, we're pros.
Screen. And by the way, if the doctors can't personally take themselves physically to the hospital, the Florida Marine Patrol, I know an unusual federal, rather state agency that's jumped into this one, but the Florida Marine Patrol says that they'll personally bring them in if they have to go pick them up and shuttle them into the hospital. So that's not bad either.
Great. Ileana, thank you very much.
You're welcome, Teresa.
Okay. Well, we're going to show you some video now of the Dinner Key Marina in Coconut Grove. So let's watch this.
Around 9 o'clock, and we left at 11 o'clock and turned off the lights and you out there
from the anchorage.
Power as well. A lot of you are listening to us on
I'm going to go down the wrong way
that
here.
is 93.9 FM WLVE Miami Beach. They have been
way over here. This is behind buildings.
Pretty much hideous situation.
This is absolutely incredible. Look at the anchor still out there. Seems to be a pretty good place.
Okay, what we are looking at is Dinner Key Marina this morning. Just unbelievable. The amount of boats, if you're with us on Y100, I understand now they're kind of cutting in and out. If you are with us, the damage at Dinner Key Marina is unbelievable. Boats just thrown around like toys.
Sailboat.
It is just amazing.
This is on the street.
This is on the street. I mean, this was reminiscent of what Hugo did and also Hurricane Bob. Boats just thrown around like little toys in a bathtub.
Like made out of paper.
Sunk boats, boats with masts. There was a shot we had a while ago that it looked like about a 58 or a 60-foot Hatteras that had been lifted up out of the water. Well, right there. That's a prime example. We're looking at probably a 36 or a 38-foot. It looks like a Pearson or a Hunter sitting right on its keel.
And you're looking at some damage now to the actual marina. This is Dinner Key Marina.
Raises a question we talked about before. If this is the damage at Dinner Key Marina, I wonder what the damage is to Miami City Hall, because they're right there in the Pan Am building.
I wonder about the Keys. I keep wondering about that. I know we're trying to get information.
We're still trying to get information out of the Keys right now. Let me...
looking at some condos, though, Brian, I don't mean to jump ahead
which
of you,
condo...
Do we know what condominium this is? Is this still out on Coconut Grove? Okay, we don't know that yet.
Let me bring you up to date on our weather situation. It looks like our one printer during these power surges we've been taking and switching from power back and forth may have just fried. So we're trying right now to get a new printer in there so we can get you the latest information. We do have the latest radar shot, if we can bring this up for you, to show you what's going on. It's out of Palm Beach. One more little band, and that's it to the southeast of the IA in Miami. Looks to be about 25 to 30 miles offshore, moving on through. Still a few more light scattered showers around. Let's go ahead and give you the latest picture of Andrew right now as it continues to pull off the west coast of Florida. Once again, the latest advisory put Andrew at 140 miles per hour, maximum sustained winds. It is still a Category 4 major hurricane. Moving to the west right now at about 18 miles per hour. Latitude 25.7 north. And the longitude on Andrew was at 82.1 west. That was the latest advisory we had. A little bit of strengthening, not really in the next 24 hours. We're still waiting to see what happened with the reconnaissance flight. I think that information did come in, but because of the problems we've been having in the storm center, we don't have it. I'm working on a couple of other routes to get us that information. Gusts to 100 miles per hour were reported in Naples somewhere between 9 and 11 o'clock this morning. Andrew still bears watching. By no means is Andrew over with.
Now, I know that that a lot of times meteorologists and folks who work at this don't like to have this question asked, but I will ask it anyway. When was the last time we had such a powerful hurricane?
If you will.
Is it 1935? Because I keep thinking...
The most powerful...
Which one?
Okay, the 35 hurricane is the one that Dr. Sheets and Brian... Yeah, if you can give me the book here, because we're going to point out a couple of different things. The 1935 hurricane is the one that Dr. Sheets and Brian kept talking about last night. The similarities between these two storms. 1935 was about the last time that we really got pounded. We've had more powerful hurricanes. Hugo was about the same, actually. There have been a couple Category 5s in the United States, but that really goes back. But as far as South Florida goes, the amazing thing about this one is we have to remember this was the most powerful hurricane to hit what we call a large population base. When the final orders came down, once we found out we were in a Category 4, Dade and Broward County alone was more than 1 million people that needed to be evacuated. That was something that had never been undertaken in this country before. And Hugo, the billions of dollars in that area, as far as the damage, no idea yet. I mean, it's not even possible to try and conceive what kind of damage we're looking at. But the one thing Brian was talking about last night and Bob Weaver was talking about this morning and I was talking about this morning, this afternoon as well, we knew that once someone got in the air, Teresa, and could finally go and look at the overall picture. If we can come back to the two-shot here, because I'm in the mode to talk with my hands for a second. If you take the whole county, like this desktop here, our crews, who've been incredible, can only get to so many places, okay? And if you've got 4 corners covered, there's so much area in between, and we knew that once they could get a helicopter or a plane up, preferably a helicopter, because they could get a really close-in look, that it would be unbelievable, the damage, that nobody had an idea of how much damage had been done.
I think the county manager, that's
oh,
an
definitely.
example
And
when
we've
he
got,
was able to fly over the
as
area
Steve
today.
Handelsman alluded to earlier, the story on the Associated Press Wire, that not one building in Homestead that was not affected by damage.
By some kind of damage. Brian, we have an update. Unfortunately, I'm sad to report that the death toll from Hurricane Andrew is now up to 8. 8 people have died as a result of Hurricane Andrew.
I would hate to think this, but the possibility is very real that we're going that it
may rise.
That it most likely will rise. We had more than I believe 60 killed in Hurricane Hugo. One thing I'd like to make a point of that I hope that we're not done with this. This is just the middle of hurricane season. There is a very valuable lesson that I hope we all have learned as a result of Andrew. We have to be prepared. At one point yesterday afternoon, Steve Abrams was at one of the Broward County shelters. Actually, he was at the EOC for Broward County. They had evacuation space for 100,000 people. Just under a quarter of the people they asked to evacuate. At one point, they only had 3,000. 3,000. There's no reason for that. We kept getting calls in the help center last night. Should I evacuate?
Too late.
What should I do? This going on at midnight. I hope that it finally sinks in. This is something we've been saying for years. We have to be prepared. There's no other way.
Yeah, some folks, unfortunately, judging by the death toll, which is now at 8, learned it a very difficult way. Now, we'd like to update you on some advisories that we're getting here in the newsroom. We're being told that all Broward County courts will be closed tomorrow. They will reopen on Wednesday. Again, all Broward County courts will be closed tomorrow. They will reopen on Wednesday. Now, all Store Cable Company workers are to report to work tomorrow. Again, if you work for Store Cable, you are to be there tomorrow at your regular time. And let me see what else I have. Margate City Hall will be closed till Wednesday. Again, Margate City Hall closed till Wednesday. Now, at this point, we, in our continuing effort to bring you the news and to bring you the developments in the aftermath of Hurricane Andrew, as you know, our crews have been out there nonstop. We've been coming to you 24 hours a day here, simulcasting on Y100, and it's time for us to ask you for help. We are making a plea at this point. We are low on fuel for our news cars, and if you operate a gas station, if you're the manager or the owner, however you can help us, if you would give us a call here at 789-4200. Again, we are low on fuel. Our news cars need to be out there to bring you the information, let you know what's going on. If you can help us in any way, please call us 789-4200. Thank you.
I would
appreciate it.
I would guess, since you said fuel, we should also say diesel fuel as well. Our news cars run on gasoline, but our live trucks that we're using to show you what's been going on run on diesel. So I would say regular unleaded gasoline and diesel fuel, please, if you can help us out, 789-4200.
And if it's busy, because I know I was trying to call in all morning,
just
please
keep trying, please.
because we really appreciate it. You don't, this means a lot to us to be able to be there and help you. So 789-4200, and please keep trying.
We want to report that Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport is still closed. The only thing being accepted are incoming freight flights. Now then, Miami International Airport will be closed for the remainder of today. It is not going to reopen. Possibly tomorrow closed as well. The only flights coming in are relief flights. That is bringing us things that we desperately need down here in Dade, Broward County, and possibly Monroe County as well.
Now, although we are now looking at the aftermath and slowly but surely starting to see the devastating effects of Hurricane Andrew, we want to give you a look at how one reporter here at the station saw it. What you're about to see is Carrie Sanders, and the photographer is Steve. Is it Steve? Steve Schneider, as they were in the thick of things. Let's take a look now, and this is Carrie Sanders and Steve Schneider.
And here are the effects of Andrew as he begins to arrive here on Miami Beach. You can see the palms blowing, and then over here, You can see the sand. It's almost like a blizzard, a snowstorm of sand. And I'm going to hold the mic up to the window here so you can hear it as it blows, and you can hear how stinging that sand is just on the windows of the car. And over there in the distance, you can see a sign just flapping back and forth, back and forth. In all likelihood, that sign, along with a whole bunch of others, will not be here tomorrow morning. And here you can see the wind is really picking up. In fact, the car is rocking back and forth, and I'm sure that's evident in the picture. Here's a bicycle tied to that sign that's just flapping back and forth. And that's stuck in the cement, so it looks like it's probably just going to go right over. It's just going to fold right down in the wind. This is really incredible. You can feel not only the wind, but you can feel your ears. It's popping, almost as if it's when you go diving and you go down. It's the atmospheric pressure is just going back and forth. And as we look down Ocean Drive, we have spotted what may be some of the first real damage, a window that's been knocked out in all likelihood by a piece of construction debris or something that's been picked up by the wind and then thrown right through that window. And on top of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-story building, there's a flag on a mast that is, well, it's hanging on there. I'm not exactly sure how. We'll see whether that's the white flag of surrender. Everybody has basically left the beach, the white flag blowing. Well, here you can see the water's just whipping up, the wind is whipping up, the surf is just coming right across the front of our car. We're on the MacArthur Causeway, and the reason we can't get off the MacArthur Causeway is because as we turn over here, let me take the window down. I'll turn it down just for a minute. There you go. There's a tree that's down blocking the road. Just listen to this wind. I'm going to hold the microphone right up to the open window. Okay, we're going to turn around and get on the other side of the MacArthur Causeway again. There you see the surf kicking up.
Incredible video,
Yeah.
and to think this was only a few hours ago that
if I understand,
we were all experiencing something.
I was going to say, if I understand you right, they were like right down in your neighborhood.
They were, we saw some footage out on the beach, but they were later in South Miami because I know that when we were getting the brunt of the winds, I remember we had a little portable TV set, and I remember them calling in apparently and saying that they had taken refuge in the news car,
Right.
and they were caught in that, that tail end, you know, of the eye, and I said, boy, I wish I could help them. My phones were down. Even my cell phone wasn't working.
Right.
And I was, you know, huddled in this little corner of the bedroom with the family.
That also
And I'll tell you,
happened
it's scary
to
stuff.
Ari Odzer, our Broward reporter last night. Do we know who the photographer was with Ari?
With Ari Odzer?
As we mentioned, Kent Catterjohn.
Thank
it was
you.
Ari Odzer and Kent Catterjohn. You guys, thank
Great
you.
job.
Way beyond the
Great
call
job.
of duty, but we do appreciate it. This just in, all Larkin General Hospital and Health South employees are asked to report to Larkin General Hospital at 7031 Southwest 62nd Avenue, South Miami, immediately. All existing shelters will remain open tonight. This all coming in from Metro Dade. Dade County Public Schools will not open for classes until next week. And request that Dade County Housing and Urban Development residents do not go to North Shore Medical Center unless they have a medical emergency.
And folks, we're trying to find out about Broward County Public Schools
Right.
and whether or not they will not reopen as well
And
until
we have
next
not,
week. As soon as we have it.
I'm sorry.
No, about 20 minutes we'll have that. It's okay. I'll get in there. Don't worry.
We have not given up on trying to get information out of the Keys as to what is going on. I'm still interested in finding out if there's anybody who lives in Key Largo. If you can get to us here, 789-4200.
Let us know,
and tell them it's for
please.
me here. You've got a report for us from Key Largo, even maybe Isla Mirada. I'd like to know what happened down in that area last night, as far south as the storm went into Homestead.
Okay, now we're going to show you some unedited video. This is unedited video of Coral Gables.
Okay.
So let's look at this. Now that first shot was the National Hurricane Center, if I'm not mistaken.
Without the big dome on the top, that was the radar arch. What you're looking at there is, believe it or not, that's
the Marriott
Metro
by
Rail.
Kendall.
It's down there. There's the Marriott right near Dadeland. Burdines, the sign there.
This is Dadeland.
One shot there. Doesn't look like much damage. That's the big church. I forget the name of the church. We had this written down.
What is the name of the church? Can one of you folks in the control room pass that on to us? Do we know the name of the church? We do not know the name of the church yet.
Okay,
But this is, where's this located, Brian? The
this
church
is still,
that we were...
It's right down near Dadeland.
You go a little faster.
Is the name of the church, or excuse me,
What is it?
Wayside Baptist
Wayside
Church is what it
Baptist.
is.
Thank you.
The Kmart right down there near Dadeland. I'm sorry, Fred? Okay, the church located at 104th and US 1. There you can look at the way these signs have just bent. There's
Look at
Bloomingdale's.
My goodness, this is down by the falls.
In the falls.
I know, I got excited.
She got excited. There's another shot of the church again. And again, these are the first pictures we were seeing. And as we kept going further south, I know that Barky Haddad, Mike Zimmer were out there this morning. Rob Pierce was out there this morning. Steve Schneider out there this morning. Kent Catterjohn. All the photographers that were out there this morning. I'm trying to remember all the names, guys. Forgive me if I forget them. These people have been working their tails off today to get us this. And these were the first indications that we were talking about earlier that Mr. Avignon came up with to decide to fly this. And that's how we've decided the devastation so far as to how bad it is here in Dade County.
And we should remind you that there is a curfew beginning tonight at 7 p.m. in Dade County, all of Dade County, from 7 p.m. till 7 a.m. And this curfew will remain until the county decides to tell us otherwise. And again, this is for all of Dade County. Boundaries could change depending on you know, what the county deems is safe. And again, this is being done for your safety. There's no reason you have to be out there in the evenings. There are still many power lines down, dangerous situations. Authorities are out there. Rescue teams are out there. Emergency teams are out there trying to get their work done. So please, indoors, 7 p.m., 7 a.m.
Right. If you have questions about the curfew, 596-8735. One more area that's being blocked off and cordoned off is Coconut Grove in downtown Miami. Miami police are cordoning off the area. It is only going to be, thank you very much, only for residents and business owners. And we're still trying to get an idea here if we can find out if they're actually if you're a business owner here in downtown Miami or in Coconut Grove or a resident, if you're concerned and you did evacuate, if they will let you in to check damage. We do not know that information. We're just telling you right now that if you don't belong in that area, don't even try it. You will not be admitted. We will not be admitted.
Allowed in, yeah. Also, we have an advisory here from Jackson Memorial Hospital. We're being asked to ask you if you're scheduled to work that second or third shift. Please go to the hospital as soon as possible, and if you would please bring some drinking water with you. Again, Jackson Memorial Hospital, second and third shift workers. If you can get to the hospital, please do so as soon as possible, and bring some drinking water with you.
Okay, all Mount Sinai Medical Center B team. B as in boy. All Mount Sinai Medical Center B as in boy team employees. Call your supervisors immediately. I want to just pass on one thing here that was kind of nice that came out of this. We deal with Adopt-A-Pet, Bob Weaver and Bob Mayer and Marianne Murciano on the morning show here. If you watch the morning show, you know that Adopt-A-Pet is something that a lot of us here at Channel 4 are involved with. They called us yesterday. They had 110 dogs and cats. Because of where they're located, they were in an immediate flood zone. We put the number up only a couple of times because we were handling the storm information so far. All 110 were temporarily evacuated. I'm sure a lot of them were adopted after some storm bonding. I mean, that was one of the nicest things we heard that came out of all this, yeah.
All right, now, Brian, why don't you give us the latest on the coordinates on Andrew at this point, because it is moving over to the other coast. In fact, it's heading out over the Gulf.
Here's a satellite shot right there. You can see the well-defined eye. There you can see the banding and the spirals there. Right now, maximum sustained winds 140 miles an hour. It is still a Category 4 hurricane. It is moving to the west at about 18 miles per hour. The coordinates on this, latitude 25.7 north, the longitude 82.1 west. On the latest advisory, that put it about 40 miles southwest of Naples. I'm still waiting to get my hands on the reconnaissance flight. Gusts of 100 miles per hour were reported from Naples within the last couple of hours. There are hurricane, let me see here. We do have hurricane and tropical storm warnings up for the west coast of Florida, and then we do have a hurricane watch up from a portion of Alabama all the way back into Texas. So basically the entire Gulf region right now under a hurricane watch. Andrew, not really expected to strengthen much in the next 24 hours, though.
Strong enough, though.
Yeah, it's a Category 4. It is a serious hurricane. It could start to make a little bit more of a move to the west-northwest. The radar shot, finally, the rain diminishing in Dayton, Broward County. It looks like most of the heavy rain now is out over the Everglades. Just looks like a few showers in the coastal sections. We'll see a few more showers pass on through for today.
Hey, Brian, we also want to show viewers, there was another section of Southwest Dade which was really hit and devastated, and that was Country Walk. We have some unedited video of Country Walk, if we can go to that right now.
I haven't seen that. This is the first time.
This is the first I see it, but I've heard about it, and you can see the flooding.
Cars
one
thrown
car
on top of each
top
other.
Of the other. Look
Again,
at the
we're looking at the same thing. Roofs being taken down, trees down. It's just amazing. It seems like every time we find...
Was this area within the evacuation zone or no?
Do we have an address on this area?
Because this is west.
It was not in the evacuation
West of the
zone.
evacuation zone.
Let me explain something about the evacuation zone. The evacuation zone, as we get into 4 and 5, is basically for flooding. That is the reason for that. It has nothing to do with where the hurricane is going to strike. It has to do with storm surge, not where the hurricane is going to strike. We're concerned about flooding. That's the reason for the evacuation zones. And there you can see some of the people out there in their cars this morning. We hope you are not attempting that now.
Please stay indoors. There is no need to go out right now. And I know a lot of folks are curious, but...
That's looks like a complete...
What is that?
I can't...
A billboard? Is that a billboard?
Yeah, that is a billboard that went down. That is a billboard that went down.
That went down. An
It's
awning?
But well, I'm told a little dark. I'm trying to figure out what that is.
Yeah, we're trying to make it out ourselves, but
is it on,
nonetheless.
Fred? Yeah. There you can see some of the flooding out there. Trees bent, uprooted, broken in half. There you can see the roof damage. Some roofs, 1 or 2 tiles, other roofs, big patches missing.
Let me ask you, because it almost looks as if some of these pictures, tornadoes just went through. What, is this a tornado result we're seeing here, the effects of a tornado, or is it just the wind shear from the hurricane?
It could possibly be a couple of tornadoes. We had some reports of some funnel clouds. There you go, one of the signs that tells you what exit to get off of across
blocking the
highway right there. We had reports of a couple of funnel clouds and tornadoes, but at that point, the wind is wind, and most likely it's generally from the hurricane. There you can see another shot there. Windows missing, blown out, more roof tiles missing.
All right. Well, Brian, I am going to take a break now, and my colleague Jerry Helfman is going to sit in and continue our 24-hour coverage of the aftermath of Hurricane Andrew. And I don't know if you'd like to let people know exactly where it is right now. By the way, folks out in Sunrise, to answer this last question,
we're basically
about that last band.
That was it. The last band is basically through. We're still going to see a few more showers until Andrew can pull all the moisture out of here for us.
All right. And that curfew?
7 p.m. until 7 a.m. until further notice for Dade County. Hollywood Beach is open. If you live in Hollywood Beach, you can go back home. That is in. Let me give you a couple other things we've got going on right now. Miami Police Department saying stay out of downtown and Coconut Grove. The Miami Police Department is urging people who do not live in or have businesses in Coconut Grove or downtown to stay out of those areas. These two areas are perimetered in order to keep people away from areas where they do not belong. It sounds like that is a prevention for looting. Right now we had 600 National Guardsmen in some staging process earlier this afternoon here in downtown Miami at the Miami Police Department. They were in full riot gear, their own vehicles on the way. Another 900 more are expected. I do not know where they will be distributed. I'm sure Broward County will be seeing some of those. We are talking about water purification for just about everybody. Let's go ahead and put these up on the screen. Water purification. We need to, if you're going to drink the water, bring it to a rolling boil for 3 to 5 minutes. You can also use purification tablets, 4 per gallon, or you can add 12 drops of 2% tint cure iodine per gallon, or else 8 drops of plain household bleach per gallon.
Right,
Here,
so I can
I've got
understand
Jerry
those
with
other
me.
alternatives are if you can't boil the water, or you have to do that in addition to boiling the
If
water.
you can't boil the water.
Okay.
You know, we still don't know about gas lines, electricity, and things like that. And for some of the water, if you want to bathe, I know it may not sound like a great idea, but if you still had some water pressure and filled your bathtub, you could still use, and let it sit for 24 hours, you could still use the surface water, you know, for
Well, you can
some
certainly
personal
use the water that you had
freshness.
filled up.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Let me start off with you last night. How did you weather the storm? I heard you this morning on with Tony and Brian.
A little nervously. I had to evacuate my house.
You did have to evacuate.
Well, I live on the Coral Gables waterway.
Oh, that's right, you do.
And went back to our house this morning, and our apartment, which is on the 9th floor, was untouched. And all the other apartments in our building, which were untouched. Our lobby is gone, as it is, I'm sure, in many high-rise buildings.
I'm sure my lobby and gym is gone also.
So while a lot of condominiums are probably okay, who knows when people are going to be able to get back into them.
Exactly.
The water was thigh deep in our lobby. Cars, and this is in Coral Gables on Edgewater Drive.
Right.
Cars were thrown on top of one another. They were piled 5 and 6 high.
Storm surge.
On top of each other.
Yeah.
They were near the pool area. Cars were thrown everywhere, and all of the windows are gone. I mean, our lobby, the lobby of my building, and I'm sure many others, is a shell. It's just a shell with glass everywhere. And I drove here through Coral Gables, and it's just unbelievable. It's totally unrecognizable, as many of you know, if you've been on the roads. It looks nothing like it once did.
Right. How did Douglas fare the storm last night?
My kids slept through the storm, and I've spoken to a lot of people this morning, and apparently their kids did too.
Really?
Which is very fortunate.
Very fortunate, because at least, you know, it's something you don't have to contend with at that point in time.
Exactly. So they slept through the whole thing. It was frightening because I was listening to you all all during the night. And, you know, hearing that we were in the hardest hit part of the storm. That you know, Brian was talking about, if you're just north of Sunset, you're experiencing 150-mile-an-hour winds, and of course, we knew they were something like that. We were less worried about our windows than our door.
Exactly.
As I'm sure, and a lot of people I heard their doors blew in, and we thought our door was going to blow in.
So no glass damage and things like that?
Nothing like that, but I was in a fortunate situation. I was in a house that was all shuttered and all boarded, and I think as experience would tell us, that if you prepare for the hurricane, which I think a lot of South Florida did, then the casualties are going to be kept to a minimum.
I think so too. I just think that even though people were prepared, there was still somewhat of the I'm losing my train of thought here. The complacency to still say,
well, there was, but you know, well, for example, with Hugo, how many deaths were there?
I think more than 60 is what we're talking about for Hugo.
So far, we're hearing that there are 8 people confirmed dead in this storm. We're not sure of the circumstances behind those deaths. One of them, we know, a man stayed in his truck all night, and he was found dead this morning.
Right.
But again, if people were so complacent, I think we would be hearing about more fatalities, and hopefully, we're not going to hear about that many more.
I'm just wondering, though, how far into certain areas we've gotten yet. Have you been keeping track with us today? Yeah, people...
Well, as bad as I thought Coral Gables was, I heard that, you know, in Homestead, of course, is much worse. And the damage to the buildings, apparently, down south is much more so. In the area that I drove through to come here today, as horrible as it looks and as devastating as it looks, it's mostly vegetation. It's mostly trees, but we're talking big trees, you know, oak trees that are 6 feet in diameter are blocking roads. To me, it looked like a lot of people are probably trapped in their homes. I drove, on the way here, I drove by my parents' house, and it looked like a couple of the houses across the street, the oak trees were actually blocking the doors on the front of the house. So, you know, we're just speculating, but I have to assume, based on what I saw, that some people are probably stuck in their homes today.
I would think so as well. One of the other problems was yesterday we had this problem, and I keep referring to this, that at one point Steve Abrams was at the Broward Emergency Office. 3,000 people in shelters with space for 100,000.
I'm getting some information,
Okay.
Brian. It's not that I'm not
No,
listening
I understand
to you.
that. I'll tell you what, Jerry.
My producers, let me just pass this along briefly. Florida
Okay.
Power and Light is calling us and telling
Okay,
us
great.
that we have 125,000 people without power in Broward County, 600,000 people without power in Dade County.
Okay.
So,
do we have the numbers if you're looking for FP&L information? This is for emergencies only in Dade, 442-8770. And in Broward, emergencies only, 797-5000.
Brian, I also understand, I'm just being told that President Bush is flying in to the Opelika Airport today at 5 o'clock. He wants to get a first-hand look at all the damage here.
Good.
So
We will have...
perhaps after he sees the situation, we'll get a little bit more federal help.
Oh, I'm sure. The price tag, it's inconceivable right now because, as we were talking yesterday, this is the first time a population area like this has ever been hit by this size of a hurricane. We had to try to evacuate more than 1 million people.
How many people do you think evacuated? I mean, I got to tell you, I know that in the high-rise that I live in, people stayed there, and they were okay, fortunately for them. But I think that I don't know, a quarter of those people, I'll bet you, didn't evacuate.
Oh, I'm sure there were a lot more than that didn't evacuate. Let me pass on one thing here, and let me tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to pass on the latest thing we've got here. I'm going to hand you a stack of a few things that you can go through, and I've got to go get the Storm Center up to gear so we can
That's
give
just
people the
fine.
latest. All Dade County residents who need emergency shelter should report, excuse me, to one of the following 4 fire stations where they will be transported by Metro Dade Transit to an emergency shelter. Station number 4, 9201 Southwest 152nd Street. Station number 5, 13150 Southwest 238th Street. Station number 6, 15890 288th Street.
And there's one more, Station 16, 325 Northwest 2nd Street. And again, people going to those shelters should bring the following items: flashlights, food or money to buy food, a change of clothing, and a pillow and a blanket. And I heard earlier that Jackson Memorial Hospital was asking people to bring bottled water. Did
They were
I
asking
not?
people to definitely bring bottled water, yes. Let me push out of here for about 3 or 4 minutes.
Okay.
And I'll be right back.
So once again, we had some pictures that we showed just a little while ago. Maybe we can show everybody again. We had the first pictures in from West Kendall in Country Walk, so we can show you a little bit of the damage out there. Do we have those pictures, Yvette, upstairs? Okay, we don't have those pictures. We'll try to get them, perhaps, and we can show them to you in a few minutes. Another thing I can pass along is on my way in this morning, there were a lot of people out on the roads. If you happen to be in your house or in your neighborhood and you haven't seen any people on the road yet clearing the roads, you can rest assured that county officials are on their way to you. There were plenty of backhoes and people clearing Lejeune Road this morning, and it held up traffic for quite a long time. It took me over an hour to get here. So again, if you have no reason to be on the road, you shouldn't be on the road because the traffic is backed up as the emergency vehicles are trying to come in and clear the roads. I think we have those pictures now from Country Walk, and we can show you some of the devastation there. What we're understanding is Southwest Dade and South Dade in general was the hardest hit. You can see these cars piled on top of each other, a lot of flooding. A lot of structural damage, as I was telling you, in the Gables, South Miami area, and a little bit further north. Most of the damage that we've seen is strictly vegetation. Not that it's not serious, mind you, because the trees are, you know, those huge oak trees that have been growing for years and years and years, and they are just blocking roads, and they've also knocked down power lines, and that's something you just need to be so careful of when you're driving. And also, a lot of people are out walking around because they can't drive, and you just have to be so careful of those power lines, whether you're in your car or on foot. I'm getting some information in off the Associated Press wire right now. Coast Guard aircraft, there's a billboard, by the way, that billboard or an awning, I can't quite tell. There was a couple of those on South Dixie Highway that were also down. Fortunately, they weren't blocking the roadway. They were just off the side of the road. But The flooding that we showed you in South Bay does not appear to be as much of a problem as you head a little bit further north. But anyway, as I started to say, the Coast Guard aircraft are patrolling the waters off the southeast coast of Florida for possible victims of Hurricane Andrew. Jets, helicopters, and boats are patrolling from Fort Pierce to the Florida Keys and east to the Bahamas. Also, an oil leak was reported at Florida Power and Light's Turkey Point plant in Miami. It's been reported that it was not as serious as we first heard. The Division of Emergency Management says only 12,000 gallons of oil reached the waters of Biscayne Bay. And once again, FP&L tells us that 125,000 people are without power in Broward County. 600,000 people are without power in Dade. And there are also, phone lines are down all over the place. We're being told that there's reports of looting right now in Cutler Ridge, and I'm also being told that there is another death reported at the Cutler Ridge Mall. Still don't know the circumstances surrounding this. I'm not even sure if it's one of the 8 people that we told you about earlier, but we're hearing that there is a report of a death at Cutler Ridge Mall, and there is looting at Cutler Ridge Mall as well. I guess for some of these reasons, that's why Dade County is enforcing a curfew for 7 o'clock tonight. They don't want anyone outside of their house after 7 o'clock tonight, and I'm sure they're going to be out enforcing that. There you go, from 7 p.m. till 7 a.m. I'm not sure, is there a curfew in Broward County? Not yet, I'm being told. Okay. I believe there's also some health things you need to consider, some boil water orders. Do we have that graphic? We can remind people about that again. Looking for it upstairs. Okay, well, obviously it's going to be difficult to boil your water in a lot of cases because, Teresa, you want to tell me something?
Yeah, we need some fuel for our news cars here.
Okay. I'm being told that, leave that up for a minute and I'll get to it. I just want to tell you that we need here at Channel 4 fuel for our news cars so that we can get out and survey damage and let you all know what's going on. And we're located downtown. You can call us, and I guess it might be better if we came to you. If you have fuel or you know where we can get fuel, and you can call us at, they're calling us on the assignment desk number, and that's 789-4200. Once again, 789-4200. We, Channel 4, are in need of fuel for our cars so that we can go out and properly inform you. So, again, call us if you know where we can get some gas or you have some gas. Now, back to this boil water order. Obviously, it's going to be difficult without electricity to boil your water, but if you have some means of doing so, you need to boil your water for 3 to 5 minutes. If you're not able to do that, and you have purification tablets, you should use, Brian, how many? 1 per gallon or?
4 per gallon.
4 per gallon. 4 purification tablets per gallon.
4 per gallon.
And I guess what? Another alternative, these are all separate alternatives, is that you can add 12 drops of 2% tincture iodine per gallon. That's 12 drops of 2% tincture iodine per gallon. Or you can add 8 drops of household bleach per gallon. And Brian, what about the, you know, a lot of us, we told people long before Andrew arrived that they should fill their tubs in anticipation of not having sanitized water. That water should be fine for, for sanitary purposes, for washing your face, taking a bath, brushing your teeth, whatever.
And if you happen to turn your water on today, when the water pressure started to drop, just leave that water in the tub for about 24 hours. Just allow the sediment to settle to the bottom, and you can still use that. I wouldn't use that for drinking, but you're going to get to the point where you're at least going to want to spruce up a little bit, and that's for that water. I'm just come in from the Storm Center. Let me look here at the 2 o'clock advisory, the interim advisory on Andrew. The headline, Andrew remains strong over the eastern Gulf of Mexico. A hurricane watch remains in effect for the northern Gulf of Mexico from Mobile, Alabama to Sabine Pass, Texas. All other warnings have been discontinued. So the west coast of Florida now is coming out of the warning phase. 2 p.m., which is just 28 minutes ago, latitude 25.7 north. longitude 83.1 west for the location. That puts it about 85 miles west-southwest of Naples. Andrew is moving to the west at 18 miles per hour. A gradual turn to the west-northwest is likely later tonight. Maximum sustained winds on Andrew are at 140 miles per hour. So Andrew is a serious Category 4 hurricane still. And the pressure, in case you'd like to know right now, 947 millibars, which translates to 27.95 inches of mercury.
Brian, I think we have some pictures now of Kendall. People going home to survey the damage.
Not a fun task.
No,
not
at
a great
all.
task at all to have to do today.
Obviously, here we're seeing somebody already back up on his roof, not only surveying the damage, but trying to take care of some of the problems. There's one gentleman